July 13th, 1975, 9:36 p.m. Columbia Records Building, New York City. The lights went out across New York City at exactly 9:34 p.m., plunging 8 million people into darkness and chaos. In the Columbia Records Building on 52nd Street, Bob Dylan was leaving a late recording session when the elevator he had just stepped into stopped between the 7th and 8th floors, trapping him in what would become the most transformative 6 hours of his musical life. He wasn't alone. In the opposite corner of the elevator, sitting quietly on a small stool he had been carrying, was Stevie Wonder, who had been visiting the building to discuss a potential collaboration with another artist. When the power failed and the elevator lurched to a stop, most people would have panicked. But Stevie simply smiled in the darkness and said something that would change everything Dylan thought he knew about music. "Well, looks like we're going to have to rely on our other senses now. Lucky for me, I've had a lifetime of practice." What happened in that small, dark space over the next 6 hours would create a bond between two musical legends and teach Dylan a completely new way of experiencing and creating music, a way that would influence some of his most innovative work for decades to come. Dylan had recognized Stevie's voice immediately. "Stevie Wonder, is that really you?" "The one and only, and you must be Bob Dylan. I'd recognize that voice anywhere, even in the dark." Stevie's laugh was warm and genuinely amused by their predicament. "Yeah, it's me. Hell of a way to meet, huh? Actually, this might be perfect. When was the last time you experienced music without any visual distractions?" Dylan thought about it. He couldn't remember ever consciously listening to music in complete darkness, without being able to see his instruments, his hands, or anything else. "I don't think I ever have, to be honest." "Then you're in for a treat. Darkness doesn't limit music, Bob. It liberates it." As they settled in to wait for rescue, Dylan found himself more curious than claustrophobic. Here was one of the greatest musicians of their generation, someone who had never seen a sunrise or a face or the keys of a piano, talking about music as if he could see things that sighted people missed. "Stevie, can I ask you something?" "Shoot." "What's it like, making music when you can't see?" Stevie was quiet for a moment, and Dylan could hear him shifting on his stool, thinking about how to explain something that was fundamental to his entire musical existence. "Bob, let me ask you something first. When you write a song, what do you see in your mind?" I guess I see the words sometimes. I see the guitar strings, the studio, other musicians. But what about the music itself? Does music have a color for you? A shape? A texture?" Dylan had never thought about music in those terms. "Not really. Music is just sound, I guess." "That's where we're different. For me, every note has a color. Every chord progression has a shape. Every rhythm has a texture I can almost touch." Stevie reached into a bag he had been carrying and pulled out a small harmonica. "Mind if I demonstrate?" "Go ahead." In the pitch-black elevator, Stevie began playing a simple blues progression on the harmonica. But as he played, he started describing what he was experiencing. "This note, this low G, it's deep purple to me, almost black around the edges, rich and thick like velvet. When I bend it up to the A, it becomes burgundy, then wine red as it settles." Dylan listened, fascinated. Stevie's description was so vivid that Dylan found himself almost seeing the colors in his mind. "Now listen to this," Stevie continued, shifting to a higher register. "These notes up here? They're gold, bright yellow, sometimes pure white light. When I play them fast, they sparkle like stars. As Stevie played, Dylan began to understand that this wasn't just poetic metaphor. Stevie was literally experiencing music as a visual phenomenon, creating paintings in his mind with every note he played. "That's incredible," Dylan said. "I never thought about music having colors." Everything has color if you listen closely enough. Your voice, for instance. It's like rust-colored copper, with silver threads running through it when you get emotional. Very distinctive. Dylan was amazed. "You can hear colors in people's voices?" "Bob, I can hear colors in everything. The way you shift your weight on your feet. That has a color. The sound of your breathing. That has a color too. The whole world is a symphony of colors and textures and shapes if you know how to listen." For the next hour, Stevie guided Dylan through a series of listening exercises designed to help him experience music the way a blind person does, with complete sensory immersion. "Close your eyes," Stevie instructed, though the elevator was already completely dark. "They already are." "No, I mean really close them. Close them like you're trying to see through your eyelids." Dylan did as instructed, squeezing his eyes shut. "Now, I want you to listen to the sounds around us. Not just my voice, but everything. What do you hear?" Dylan concentrated. "I hear the elevator fan running, cars honking outside, people shouting in the street, a radio playing somewhere." "Good. Now, instead of just identifying those sounds, try to feel them. Where do you feel the elevator fan? In your chest? Your stomach? Your head?" Dylan focused on the gentle whirring of the elevator fan. "In my chest, I think. Like a steady vibration." "Perfect. Now what color is that vibration?" "Color? I don't think about it. Just feel it. If that vibration in your chest had to be a color, what would it be?" Dylan let himself stop thinking and just experience. "Gray. Kind of a soft, steady gray." "Excellent. Now you're starting to understand. Every sound creates a physical sensation, and every sensation has a color, a texture, a feeling. Music isn't just something you hear. It's something you experience with your entire body." Over the next several hours, Stevie taught Dylan techniques he had developed over a lifetime of experiencing music without sight. He showed Dylan how to feel rhythm in different parts of his body, how to distinguish between instruments, not just by their sound, but by the physical sensations they created, how to use his hands to see the space around him while playing. "Here, give me your hands," Stevie said around midnight. Dylan extended his hands in the darkness, and Stevie guided them to his own face. "This might seem strange, but bear with me. I want you to feel how I experience sound." Stevie began humming a low note, and Dylan could feel the vibrations through Stevie's chest, his throat, even his skull. It was like touching music directly. "Now hum along with me, and feel how the sound moves through your own body." As they hummed together in harmony, Dylan began to understand something profound about music that he had never realized before. It wasn't just something that happened in the air between performer and audience. It was something that lived inside the body, something that could be felt as much as heard. "Stevie, this is incredible. I feel like I've been playing music with one sense when I could have been using all of them." That's exactly right. Sighted people often use their eyes as a crutch. They get distracted by what they see instead of focusing on what they feel. Stevie pulled a small keyboard from his bag, a portable Fender Rhodes that he often carried for impromptu sessions. "Want to try an experiment?" "Sure. I'm going to play a chord progression, and I want you to tell me what you see. Don't think about the technical aspects, the chord names or the key signature. Just tell me what the music shows you. Stevie began playing a haunting progression in a minor key, his fingers finding the keys effortlessly in the complete darkness. Dylan listened, trying to apply what Stevie had taught him about experiencing music synesthetically. I see a desert at night. Stars, but they're sad stars, like they're mourning something. Beautiful. Keep going. As Stevie continued playing, Dylan found himself seeing landscapes, emotions, even memories triggered by the interplay of harmony and rhythm. It's like the music is painting pictures in my mind, Dylan said, amazed. That's because it is. Music is the most direct language we have for expressing things that can't be put into words. When you learn to see music, you can communicate feelings and ideas that are impossible to express any other way. Around 2 a.m., Dylan had an idea. Stevie, can I try something? Can I play you a song I've been working on, and you tell me what you see? I'd love that. Dylan pulled out his harmonica and began playing a melody he had been developing, something that would eventually become part of his Desire album. As he played, he tried to apply Stevie's techniques, feeling the music in his body, seeing the colors and shapes that the notes created. When he finished, Stevie was quiet for a long moment. Bob, that was extraordinary. I saw a story unfolding, a man on a journey, searching for something he'd lost. The melody started in gray and silver, like dawn breaking, but then it moved through blues and purples, like disappointment. But at the end, there was gold thread running through it. Hope. Dylan was stunned. Stevie had accurately described not just the emotional content of the song, but the actual narrative Dylan had been trying to express. How did you know? How did you see all that? Because you played it, Bob. You painted it with sound. You just didn't know you were doing it. As the night wore on, they took turns playing for each other, sharing techniques and insights. Stevie taught Dylan how to use silence as a color, how to create texture with rhythm, how to make melodies that could be felt in specific parts of the body. Dylan taught Stevie about the power of lyrics to add additional layers of meaning to musical colors, how words could change the emotional temperature of a song, how storytelling and synesthetic music could work together to create something more powerful than either could achieve alone. You know what I'm realizing? Dylan said around 4 a.m. I've been thinking about music and lyrics as separate things, like one supports the other. But what you're showing me is that they can be completely integrated. The music can tell the story, and the story can create the music. Now you're getting it. When sound and meaning become the same thing, that's when magic happens. At 6:17 a.m., the power came back on. The elevator lurched to life, and within minutes, building maintenance had freed them from their unintended studio. As they gathered their instruments and prepared to leave, Dylan felt like he was emerging from more than just a stuck elevator. He felt like he was emerging from a completely new understanding of what music could be. Stevie, I can't thank you enough for tonight. You've completely changed how I think about music. The pleasure was all mine, Bob. It's not often I get to share 6 hours of uninterrupted musical exploration with someone who's willing to truly listen. What you taught me tonight, about seeing music, about feeling it with your whole body, that's going to change everything for me. Stevie smiled. Just remember, the darkness isn't your enemy. Sometimes you have to close your eyes to really see what music is showing you. The impact of that night was immediate and profound in Dylan's subsequent work. Musicians who worked with him noticed that he had developed an almost supernatural ability to feel